All right, let's get this show on the road. Welcome, technical artists. I am Chris, and welcome to Tech Art Talk Live, where you get to talk about all about the tech art and technical director vocation, the field, the philosophy, the theory, the whatever you call it. We're here to talk about it. And today, I was planning on bringing you a very special interview with a fellow who is in charge of creating entire worlds, entire cities, and he's got a quite an extensive list on his hand, and he's also an instructor. But something weird happened last Sunday. We are in Florida, and we got hit by an electrical storm, and the house got hit by lightning. And I was working on the computer at the time, and therefore my computer got fried. And so therefore I needed to cancel my interview this week because I didn't know if I would be able to get my computer back online. Luckily, it did come back online, so that's why I'm here broadcasting to you. So I had to come up with some additional content to kind of act as a filler. And then I realized that you folks may not really know who I am or really what I thought. Of course, those of you who know me are probably aware of all this stuff. However, for those who are just coming into Tech Art Talk, maybe are like, oh, who is this Chris guy? What is he doing? And so I thought I'd take this opportunity to express a little bit of who I am, what I stand for, and what to expect from Tech Art Talk Live. So without haste, let's get this show moving along here. All right, so a little bit of backstory, and so a little bit about me. Me? Oh, I gotta get the mouse in there into the window. All right, very good. Well, who am I? Well, as you folks might know, my name is Chris Rhoda, and to make a long story short, I'm all about the storytelling process. I love stories. I love the storytelling process. I love everything involved with stories. I think stories are just the greatest thing since French toast. And because of that, I've kind of developed this philosophy in my life is that I'm all about empowering the everyday person to help them create their own reality. Now, that definition isn't meant to put anyone down or isn't meant to be crushing, or it's not meant to put not meant to be derogatory or negative. It's just let me explain the process. It's a little bit involved. So here is let's deep dive into some philosophy here. Now, a lot of folks believe that we as human beings explain our existence through stories. And if that sounds familiar, well, it should, because there was a fellow named Joseph Campbell. Yeah, that's a picture of him over there. Anyway, Joseph Campbell was a big proponent of that, and I really subscribed heavily to his philosophies. And even though at that time, back in the 90s and so forth, I was creating visual effects. I saw a film called Good Will Hunting, and then I realized that, yeah, stories are not the visuals. It was crushing to me at the time because I was a visual effects artist. I was trying to create great stories through visual effects, and guess what? No, stories are not the visuals. However, the visuals can create a very strong contribution to the storytelling process. And in some very special circumstances, they can be the whole bag. And that's okay, cool. There's hope for me yet. All right, cool. Now, let's get on to a concept of philosophy called phenomenology. And if you know this guy here, that is Jean-Paul Sartre. I'm sorry, I'm probably barbecuing the French name. I apologize here, rough American accent here. But anyway, Jean-Paul here was a early proponent of phenomenology and existentialism, and it kind of goes like this. It says our realities are defined by the culmination of all of our sensory experiences. So therefore, our sensory experiences define what we perceive as reality. Okay, that's kind of phenomenology in a nutshell. Most philosophers are probably going, he's destroying it here, but that's at least how I understand it. Okay, now most folks in this world, not all, everybody, but some folks, most folks are dominated by their visual sense. So that means that when it comes down to sight, hears, taste, touch, they're kind of dominated by their visual sense or their eyes. So therefore, it's in my humble belief that if we can control our input to our senses, and predominantly, since I'm a visual effects artist, we can control our visuals. Therefore, if we can control our visuals, then we can control our realities. Now, you say, what are realities? This is going into VR. Yeah, we're all going into VR and so forth about that, but that's later down the road. But we're just talking about the core fundamentals right here. So, through visuals, I help people create their own realities. And so my purpose on earth is here to empower the everyday person to help them take accountability for themselves and create their own realities. All right. Now, when I'm not being the virtual reality story avenger in the daytime, I am also let me get ready for this. I am the Technical Art Directory for the University of Central Florida, the Florida Interactive Entertainment Academy. Okay, so what that means in basic terms is I am the Tech Art Directory at Tech Art Director at FIA. And you're probably going, what in goody go is FIA? Well, FIA is a department oh yeah, by the way, you can check out the FIA website at https fia.ucf.edu, just to make sure we're legitimate here. But anyway, we're a graduate department at UCF, and we specialize in preparing our graduate students for careers in the game world, the film world, or in the simulation and theme park visualization industries. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, and I've been doing that for a few years, but before doing that, I was the CG supervisor at Electronic Arts. And if you don't know what a CG supervisor is, don't worry about it. It's kind of irrelevant. But what happened before, I spent 4 years, looking over NCAA football. And yeah, there's a picture of that. And NCAA football was a lot of fun because we had a lot of creative liberties. And a lot of my concepts about hyperrealism were developed while working on NCAA football. We were trying to create reality, but because we were dealing with college football, we could kind of like turn it up to notch 11, which was really cool. And I also spent 2 years on Madden football, and I kind of helped out make the transition from Gen 3 to Gen 4. And I guess we're about ready to go make the transition from Gen 4 to Gen 5 now. So actually that tells you that I've been away from Electronic Arts for a little bit of a while. Anyway, but the most important things that I got out of Electronic Arts is that I learned how to package the immersive experience as a piece of software. Now this is very important down the wrong road, especially when creating a viable product. And we'll kind of like get onto that in a little bit here. But before going over to Electronic Arts, I was a visual effects artist in Hollywood. Now, I spent about 15 years creating visual effects for, you name it, feature films, television shows, commercials, and theme park experiences. And if you want to double check and make sure that I'm legit, go ahead and go check my name, Chris Rhoda, on IMDb, and you'll see a couple of the credits that I have associated with me. And if somebody wants, I'd be happy to go on and on and on and on all about my visual effects stories, but those are stories for another tale. But most importantly, I learned at this time on how to use visuals to help tell the story. Back to storytelling again, see? And during that time also, I said, okay, I've had enough of visual effects for a while. Let's go and create our own films. And so me and a couple of other fellows, we got all full of ourselves and we said, okay, let's create a film production company. And we created this film production company called Rocket Sled. That's a picture of a rocket sled right there, and it was scammed off the network in there. So that's kind of a crude representation. It wasn't what our actual logo was, but I have my rocket sled girl tattooed onto my shoulder. But anyway, during the Rocket Sled days, I played multiple roles where I was the producer, I was the writer-director sometimes, I was the editor, and basically I did everything else associated with creating a film. And most importantly, I learned how to make the story into a viable product. Now that was very important because a very important lesson was learned by this rocket sled experience. It was a terrible failure, but anyway, I learned something, and this is all about the film business. and it's not about the film art. So guess what? You got to know about marketing and getting out there and talking to people and selling your wares. So that's all good and fine. But so if that's what my prior experience is, what's next? Well, when I started working at FIA or start teaching at FIA, I realized that there weren't any textbooks out there for the technical artists. And so I said, oh, okay, well, maybe if I put my head to it, we can create a textbook for it. And we said, okay, we can come up with a technical artist handbook. And I came up with this huge proposal and this huge outline and so forth. And I started sharpening it around to various publishing companies, and I didn't get any takers. Nobody was interested, and it was frankly it's too huge. So I said, what if I was to break this up into smaller projects and then try to set them as a series? Well, that got a little bit of attention, and finally, I only needed one. I got one publishing company to take me up on this, and Taylor and Francis agreed to publish my books. Yay! And we're going to first start off by creating the real-time visual effects for technical artists. Now, this is a book that's coming out in late 2021. And it's really all about real-time visual effects, and which is really cool. And the book is moving along. I am kind of behind schedule on this. I have to deliver by the end of December, and I'm actually right now soliciting help from people who want to help out and help create the visuals for the textbook, because I'm kind of behind schedule and these visuals are taking me forever to create. Anyway, that's going to be coming out at you. Hopefully, I don't think it's going to make it by GDC in 2021, but maybe it'll come out by SIGGRAPH time. I don't know. Let's hope so. All right. After that, I'm gonna create another book called Essential Programming for the Technical Artist. And after that, if Taylor and Francis will still have me, I'm going to create the technical artist pipelines and workflows. And actually, this is some good timing because we're going to be able to introduce some more modern concepts, maybe like some USD, and I'll getting a chance to get my hands dirty with more USD. After that, we're going to have character rigging for the technical artists, and that's going to be very important too. And maybe we'll start getting into some like deep learning and machine learning with that. And finally, and no, actually, it's not finally. This is going to be followed up by game lighting and rendering for technical artists. It's all about how to light the scene, how to create lighting rigs, and most importantly, how to program in HLSL or GLSL or what goes into the shader programming language. Yeah, that's going to be all very important. And finally, but not last but not least, is what, in my humble opinion, is the most important book, but Taylor and Francis thought it would be the worst selling, so they wanted to make it last, is the Math and Physics for the Technical Artist. Now, I feel that this is actually the foundation for everything that is a technical artist, but you know, once again, this is all about the business and not about the art. So I said, okay, let's do it your way and let's follow your suggestions, and hopefully that. But then I realized that Taylor and Francis, they're not going to market these books for me. I have to go and market myself. I have to go and do all the advertising myself. And I'm going, oh, geez, man, what the hell am I going to do? And so yeah, I was looking into it, and then I realized, okay, what can I do? Let's create a website for it. And it came out with Tech Art Edu. And it was just reminded to me that if you go check out Tech Art Edu, there it is, https://techartedu.com. It is, yeah, there's nothing there. It's pretty barren. It's empty. But I'm working on populating that stuff right now. And once it's populated and once it's got some stuff in there that's going to be really cool, there's going to be places where there's going to be lots of downloadable goodies, lots of downloadable goodies for everybody. There's going to be an opt-in page where you can subscribe and you can get some news and current events and lots of good stuff coming out of there. So let's talk about these downloadable goodies that we're talking about. Yeah, they say, yeah, show me the money. That's right. Okay, so one of the first things we're going to do is, like, I think it's so important to say, okay, Taylor and Francis, okay, I love you guys, but I'm still going to put out a quick little squib sheet on essential math equations and formulas. This, I find, is just so important. I'm always going back to this, and if I'm creating it for myself, because I always need a math formula. So like if I need to learn what's the law of cosines, okay, I got to learn that. Okay, I'm creating a cross product on some vectors. Okay, what's the formula for that? Okay, so it's right there. So having a good location to just kind of like drop in and quickly access these formulas is really, really helpful. And then some of you out there that I'm actually working on a daily basis is a project called Procedural Gems. Now, this is where I've actually gone out and I'm actually working and collaborating with other proceduralists in the industry. And what we're doing is we're contributing of like what is the fastest, easiest, and best way for learning proceduralism. Now, this is going to be a really cool book. It's going to be collaborative, and folks are going to be able to download this, and it's going to be really cool and awesome. Now, I also realized that, I've done a lot of work in the industry, but I'm not doing too good in the leadership department. So I said, maybe it's time to do some leadership studies. Okay, so I said, fine, let's go ahead and let's study the leaders of whom I would consider leaders in the computer graphics production world. And I know a lot of these folks, and hopefully, once I get done with the procedural gems, then I'll start working on the leaders in computer graphics, and hopefully, by studying what the masters are doing, some of that will rub off onto me. Let's just kind of hope for that. And the next, I want to do a special on the women in tech art. Most of my students at FIA are actually women, which is cool because, male, female, white, black, any nationality, any sex, any creed, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we've got people that are motivated and willing to work hard, and I want to respect that and I want to reflect that, and I want to do a special in talking about how to empower other women and to encourage them to go into tech art, because it seems to be an interesting juxtaposition of art and programming that seems kind of attractive to women, and I want to keep on encouraging it and fostering that, and maybe I can find another female partner to kind of help collaborate with that. All right. Now, also, in addition to that, I realized, well, in order to get people to come to my website, then I got to get people to follow me. And so, how do I do that? Well, I realized, okay, there's social media, but then I realized that on social media, tech artists don't hang out on social media, but they are on YouTube all the time, looking out how to do the newest and the best things, for the latest technologies. So I said, okay, let's get together and start creating YouTube broadcasts. So I created hence Tech Art Talk Live, and it is here, which you're on right now, on Fridays at 12 o'clock on Eastern Time, and it's going to be that way. We'll see how that. We got a new semester coming along. We'll see how that works. I got a broadcast instead of from my home. I got a broadcast from FIA. We'll see how that works out, and then we'll see what happens. And then also on Fridays, we're also doing Houdini Secrets Live. And it's no surprise to everybody that I am consider myself a proceduralist. I am a Houdini advocate. I love all things proceduralism. Actually, I love a package called Touch Designer, and people are going, what the heck is Touch Designer? Well, stick around with me long enough, we'll figure that out. And I love it. It's all great. And so, but anyway, we're going to be teaching Houdini, and because I teach an extra free session at Houdini for the FIA students. It's not part of their curriculum, but I teach it to them extra. And since going into this whole COVID-19 stuff is all this insanity has been going on, I've been having to go online. So I said, well, why not just broadcast it into the entire world and then give it to anybody. So I'll be focusing on just kind of Houdini related topics from 3 until usually about 4 or 5 on Fridays, and that's on Eastern Time. And like I said, it's meant to support the FIA students, so I may not be getting into a lot of complicated stuff. It's geared to getting the FIA students up and going. Also, in conjunction, I'm kind of in charge of the Orlando Houdini users group, and so I'm trying to incorporate the OHUG in as addition as well. So hopefully, RHU Houdini user, Orlando Houdini users, tune in on 3 o'clock and for my broadcast on that. And hopefully, maybe if I can get some OHUG members to help out, we can have multiple Houdini broadcasts, one that'll broadcast more sophisticated topics and one that'll cover the more basics. So ultimately, at this point in my life, I am here to serve. I am here to bring you guys, what do you need to know? I need to know what you guys need to know, and how can I help you provide that? I've got like this wellspring of contacts. I've got wellsprings of information and experience, and this applies for technical artists, technical directors, folks interested in technical arts, and this involves concept artists, environment artists, character modelers, animators. Okay, I know that the animators don't love me, but I love animation because I came from character animation with Glenn, and you guys may not like me, but I certainly love you. But anyway, you want to know all about the industry, the film industry, the game industry, the simulation, the theme park industry, you know, I can help out with that. You know, about education. Like I said, I don't do very well on social media. I try, but I try to check on and on techartist.org, try to check in with the education, try to check on the industry and the learning aspects, and I don't do such a good job. But if you have any questions about that, please send them forward. And what topics do you want to know about? You know, is there any specific tech art topics or technologies you want to know about? I'm here to figure that out because I love to learn about this stuff myself. Now, I do bias myself towards the simpler topics because a lot of people who turn into Tech Art Talk Live are more of a novice technical artist. But if you want to hear, if you want to see something more simple, you know, more substantial and more solid, you'll please bring it by. In fact, someone just today asked me if they could, uh, if I could cover a topic called creating fractals on basis functions. And I said, well, that is a great topic, and it's a little sophisticated for this broadcast. But, you know, if this person is interested, I'd love to collaborate with them and actually create a series on fractals and basis functions and present it to you guys, you know, because if no one gives me feedback, we're just going to present whatever we want to. You know, what else we know? So let us know. All right, so here it is. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel where it's at Chris Rhoda, and then, you know, check me out on LinkedIn where, you know, Chris Rhoda, and then Tech Art Edu, and then check me out on Facebook where I also have a Facebook page and the Tech Art Talk Live page. And finally, you can contact me at chris@techartedu.com. Okay, well, that's what I wanted to cover with Tech Art Talk Live today. And I hope you guys have a great week. Stay away from lightning. Avoid all lightning storms. They tend to fry computers. Yep. And be safe. And we'll see you next week for Tech Art Talk Live. Bye.